Good morning, everyone, and I'm back on the road. Just a couple of weeks ago, I finished a 5-day trip down through the Carolinas, Georgia, and Tennessee. Found that COVID restrictions are beginning to be lifted, so after staying home for a couple of weeks, regrouping and repacking, I'm off on another little adventure. This time, I'm headed north. This morning, I'm headed north on Route 11 through the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. Route 11 was once the main north-south route through Virginia, entering the state of Winchester and leaving at Bristol. Along the way, it passed through many small towns, by some of those unique roadside attractions that once dotted the landscape. But when Interstate 81 opened, it bypassed many of those small towns, and a lot of those roadside attractions closed, and those small towns struggled to survive. But today, as I'm driving up Route 11, I'm happy to see that many of these towns, like Newmarket, Edinburgh, and Mount Jackson, have rebounded. Their downtowns filled with locally owned shops and stores. That's a good sign, especially after the year that we've just been through. This little road trip was put together rather quickly, and while I do have somewhat of a plan, a lot of things are probably going to be spur of the moment. And that's the case as I make my first stop of the day in Staunton, Virginia. Staunton is the birthplace of President Woodrow Wilson, who was born here on December 28, 1856. His birthplace home and museum is up on Beverly Street, but it's closed today. So I'm headed over to a place that's been on my radar for quite some time. I'm going to visit historic Thornrose Cemetery. Thornrose is a large cemetery that was founded in 1849, with the first burial occurring in 1853. It has two very distinct sections, the old historic section with an abundance of cemetery art, and the new section further in the back, with more traditional headstones and flat markers. Entering Thornrose, we passed through the limestone gatehouse, which is the first indication that this is one of Virginia's most unique and historic cemeteries. The castle-like structure was completed in 1905 and was designed by local architect T.J. Collins, who is buried here. After walking through the gate, you see several private limestone mausoleums. That is the final resting place of some of the area's most influential and historic citizens. Another unique feature of the cemetery is a limestone tower and footbridge that spans the entrance road just inside the main gate. Both were also designed by T.J. Collins. If you take time to walk across the bridge, you'll come to the statue of Our Lady of Perpetual Care. She stands overlooking the cemetery from her base above the entrance road next to the limestone watchtower. Over the years, the lady has been the object of a number of acts of vandalism. A few times, the vandals have even gone so far as to push her off her base into the road below. I cannot understand for the life of me why people think they have to be so destructive. People that do things like that are a sorry excuse for a human. With that being said, most of the damage has been repaired, and the lady still retains her beauty in spite of the vandals and all that she's been through over the years. If you walk up these stairs just west of the limestone bridge, you'll come to one of the more notable graves in the cemetery. that of Civil War General John Echols. General Echols' grave is marked by the large monument in front of the mausoleum. The smaller stone marks the grave of his son, John Percy Echols. General Echols was born in Lynchburg, Virginia on March 20, 1823. He attended VMI in 1840 but resigned after only a year. He went on to attend Washington College, which is today known as Washington and Lee University. He became a lawyer, and in 1843 he settled in present-day Union, West Virginia. Prior to the Civil War, Union was still in Virginia, and it was there he opened his law practice. As a member of the Virginia Convention, Echols voted in favor of Virginia seceding from the Union and offered his services to the Confederate Army. During the Civil War, he participated in a number of notable battles, including First Manassas, Stonewall Jackson's Valley Campaign, and late in the war, he was assigned to the defense of Southwest Virginia. On April 10, 1865, General Echols was camped near Christiansburg, Virginia, when he received a telegram notifying him that General Robert E. Lee had surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse the day before. After the war, as a former Confederate, General Echols was not permitted to practice law in the new state of West Virginia, so he settled here in Staunton, where he resumed his law practice. While here in Staunton, he was elected to the Virginia House of Delegates, serving from 1878 to 1881, and later became the president of the National Valley Bank. When the Chesapeake, Ohio, and Southwestern Railroad went bankrupt, he became its receiver and general manager. This forced him to move to Kentucky, where he spent most of his final years. He eventually returned to Staunton, and on May 24, 1896, General John Echols died at the age of 73 at the home of his son. As I was walking back to my car, getting ready to head north, I happened upon the final resting place of a man who was a member of my all-time favorite singing group. Harold Reid was a founding member of the Statler Brothers. In 1955, Harold, with his brother Don, along with Phil Bosley and the late Lou DeWitt, formed the award-winning group known as the Statler Brothers. The group started by performing locally and throughout the Shenandoah Valley. Then in 1964, the Statler Brothers became the opening act for Johnny Cash. And as they say, the rest is history. Harold, who was the group's bass singer, was born here in Augusta County on August 21st, 1939. He, along with his brother Don and their friend Lou DeWitt, wrote many of their hits, including Bed of Roses and The Class of '57. The group had a long list of number 1 and top 10 hits, like Elizabeth and Did You Know You're All My Sunshine. In 1989, the group released More Than a Name on the Wall, a very moving song about a mother visiting the Vietnam Memorial Wall to see her son's name. That song became the Statler Brothers' most requested song when they appeared in concert. The Statlers introduced comedy into their act when Harold adopted the role of Lester Roadhog Moran. Other members of the group appeared as the Cadillac Cowboys. Lester Roadhog Moran and the Cadillac Cowboys became a weekly feature on their TV show, which appeared on the Nashville Network from from 1991 until 1998. Harold and the group retired following a farewell concert on October 26, 2002 at the Salem Civic Center in Salem, Virginia. In retirement, Harold, Phil, and Don continued to live in the Staunton area. The unmistakable deep bass voice of Harold Reid was silenced on April 24, 2020, from the complications of kidney failure. He was 80 years old. Well, this video is a little longer than I anticipated, so I'm going to end it here in Thornrose Cemetery and move on down the road. If you have a favorite memory of the Statler Brothers, please let me hear from you in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up below. If you want to keep up with my future travels and be notified when I post new videos, be sure to ring that bell and subscribe. For now, remember, life's a journey. Be sure to take time and enjoy it. Until next time, I'll see you down the road. So long, everybody.